Imagine one day you wake up and you're this guy. Then this happens.
Saudi Arabia confirms that the journalist Jamal Khashoggi is dead.
A journalist is murdered, premeditated murder, then dismembered
into pieces
with a bone saw on the grounds of a diplomatic mission of a NATO ally by an entourage of intelligence and security officials, including some with close ties to the Crown Prince, followed by a dizzying and absurd cover-up by an autocratic regime known for beheading people, squelching free speech, and denying women their basic rights. Oh, and the journalist is a U.S. resident.
As of this moment, they deny it.
Instead of waffling,
Could it be them? Yes.
flip-flopping,
It certainly looks that way to me.
taking a brutal dictator's words at face value,
The king firmly denied any knowledge of it.
and doing his PR for him,
Rogue killers.
here are some more effective policies. Option 1, sanctions. Stop talking about visa bans and do it. Consider banning travel to the U.S. for others, including Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, if warranted. Discourage private foreign investment. Even this guy agrees.
I know what I'm going to do. We're going to sanction the hell out of Saudi Arabia.
Option 2, halt support for a gruesome, immoral war in Yemen that's killed thousands of civilians and left millions more starving. Stop refueling Saudi jets. And let's go ahead and stop selling them U.S.-manufactured weapons. At least Germany has moral leadership. They've already banned weapon sales. Option 3, suspend negotiations on a deal known as a 123 agreement that would provide the Saudis with American-made technology for civil nuclear energy. Remember that Iran deal they ripped up, even though Iran was complying and still is? Option 4, remove the U.S. ambassador from Saudi. Oh wait, we don't have one. So why hasn't the president done any of these? Maybe it has something to do with this.
I like the Saudis. They're very nice. I make a lot of money with them. They pay me millions and hundreds of millions.
$450 billion.
They committed to purchase $450 billion worth of things and $110 billion worth of military. Those are the biggest orders in the history of this country.
Those numbers aren't even real. Trump is exaggerating, of course, just like the number of floors in Trump's tower. The truth is, we need Saudi as an ally. It helps manage the world oil markets and works with us to fight terrorism in the region. But we also need to address the brutality and authoritarianism of the present regime, or else achieving those goals will be much harder, if not impossible.